some of my faceless pages, and I've monetized these pages pretty decently with various digital products I've sold, so much so that I've made 30,000 plus, 40,000 almost with some of my digital products, and I've launched multiple of these across the past year. And so in this video, I'm going to show you the simplest ways that you can make more with digital products, and I've broken it down into 3 simple, actionable steps you can implement. So first of all, what are digital products, right? Let's just first quickly define this. Digital products are just very simply, it's in the word, a product that is digital. So it could be a course, it could be a community, it could be like an editing pack or whatever it is, right? It's something you're selling digital. So for example, here, this is like a creator pack, which shows people how to edit videos that someone who I'm helping with their page is selling. For example, here, this is like a filter which somebody's selling, and it could be anything, right? You could have a gym page where you're selling gym guides on how to grow your biceps, how to get a six-pack. You could have a drop shipping page where you sell digital products about how to do drop shipping. You could have a page about soccer, on how to train soccer. Like, it could be anything where you have a digital product that you're selling with your theme page. And so the 3 aspects of it is what I'm going to break down. Now, the first one is to acquire. Now, this might get a little bit complicated somewhat with some of the stuff I'm talking about. This is not going to be an Iman Gadzhi video where you don't learn anything. I'm actually going to show you actionable steps you can implement to your pages. And so if you have the attention span of a goldfish, go watch Iman Gadzhi. If you actually want to learn, watch this video and drop a like on it. So first of all is acquire. So let's talk about acquire. And this is the most simple one, right, which people really overlook. It's just to simply get more sales, right? This is the simplest one. The next 2 go a little bit more in depth, I promise. But this is just so simple. Just simply get more sales. And a lot of the time, people overlook this, where they overlook this with like trying to do all these complicated funnels and opt-ins and all this stuff with their digital products or pricing structures. And a lot of the time, you simply just need to drive more traffic and increase your conversion rate so you get more sales. If you drive more traffic to your page and you get a higher conversion rate, you're going to get more sales. Simple as that. There's really not much complicated stuff to it. And so to get more sales, first of all, you need to drive traffic. Now, my favorite ways of driving traffic, which I generally use, which I'll break down in a second, right? But by the way, when I go through this, the 3 steps, I'm going to illustrate the examples with a gym, just so it really makes sense. So with a gym, right, the number 1 way a gym can make more money is just get more people to come to the gym and sign up for whatever membership plan or whatever they have, right? And so what you want to do with your product as well is just drive a lot of people to your page and get good conversion rates, right? So get people into the door, get people to actually buy your product. Now, with my pages, what I generally like doing is putting call to action throughout various aspects of it. And doing like promotional stuff. So you could do it in the video. I really like doing it in the caption. So in my video, I'll tell people to read the caption. It's like, just do these 3 steps, follow my account, comment this, and then I'll send you the guide. So in my videos, I'll say like, hey, if you want this guide, comment this word, I'll DM it to you, or something like that. Or you could say, click the link in your bio. Very simple. I also really like doing stories. Now, stories are a very underrated one, doing these promotional story sequences, because if you're posting on your story a lot, what happens is your followers are constantly seeing your story again and again and again. And so it's the same people that are constantly getting nurtured to buy your product. So you're going to get very good conversion rates from your story compared to posting on like a video or a reel or a carousel post or something like that. So putting up promotional stuff on your story. And then also I don't really do this much, but I know other pages which make this work very well. They do this a lot, is like carousel posts. So in your post, doing carousel aspects where you're doing like pictures people can swipe through, just putting call to actions, very simple. And then from there, the second aspect of getting more sales is increasing the conversion rate. So the people which you're driving to your digital product page, increasing the conversion rate of how many of those people actually buy. Now that is a whole entire separate video topic. That's like a whole full hour-long video to break down conversion rates. And I'm not the best at conversion rates, but I get pretty decent ones. But conversion rates, that's a whole nother video. That'd be like a whole hour to talk about it. But you need to increase your conversion rates as well to acquire. So that's the first one. Very simple. What are the next 2, right? Somewhat simple again, but very overlooked. And this is actually one which people most of the time don't even implement their page. And with this, they're leaving so much easy cash on the table. And this is something I actually just recently learned. I'm like, yeah, I need to include this more in my digital product. So I've been putting together stuff for this to include this. The second way is to ascend. So ascend, the literal meaning of the word ascend is like to go up. And you're basically doing ascending in price. So you're making each customer worth more. So you can do that essentially with this 2 ways in terms of ascending. Ascending is basically like, how much does the customer spend with me every time they buy? Do they just buy a $10 product? Do they buy a $30 product? Do they buy a $30 product and then buy a bunch of other stuff as well? So it's about how much your customer is spending with you. There's a term for this stuff. It's called average order value. So you need to understand, like, what is your average order value? You can do it, and I've seen people do this before, where you can take your average order value from $10 to $20 with just simple tweaks. And if you take your average order value from $10 to $20, you just doubled the amount of money you're making just like that, very simply. And so there's some ways you can do this in terms of ascending. The two main ways, though, let's say, for example, you're at a gym, right? Back to this example again. At a gym, for example, you go sign up for the gym, and then when you sign up for the gym, they're like, hey, okay, you signed up for the gym. Would you also like to buy this protein powder? Or they might say, would you also like to sign up for a personal trainer who's going to train you one-on-one? Would you also like to sign up for a 12-week Get Fit in something weeks program or something like that? They're going to sell you a bunch of this other stuff, and they do that all to increase your order value of when you're signing up at the gym. And so it's similar with your digital products on your page. I'll give you an example, right? So the first thing you can do is you can upsell. So upsell essentially means you have your main product, but then you offer other things which people can buy on top of that, right? Or you could offer, for example, a more expensive version of that. So, for example, this is like an example of an upsell I took from a page who does digital products very well. They'll have like a product, the main product which he sells, and then on top of that, it's like, hey, do you want to just quickly add this other product? It's just an extra $27. Not really much money because the main product's for over $100 anyways. And so they're just like, hey, would you just like this extra money? This extra product which you want to buy will just help you out with this little thing here. And then all they do is they just click, the check mark there, and then they add it onto their order. Now, not everyone who buys is going to do this, but overall, a lot of the people who buy will do this, and that, obviously increases the average order value over time. And I think a reason a lot of people overlook this is because they're so focused on the first point we went over just a second ago. They're so focused on acquiring and just getting more and more and more sales, when actually one of the best ways you can really make money is selling to the audience who've already bought from you. So the people who I guess you could say would be willing to buy. So if you have like 100,000 followers, whatever percent of that audience would be willing to buy, just selling them more stuff, right? More expensive stuff. And so upselling them more expensive things or more things, and giving them these options to upsell them. Now, when it comes to upselling, you want to kind of go around this in a smart way. A lot of people, when it comes to upselling, they kind of make the mistake. This is a big one when they upsell with digital products, is that they sell one thing which is like their main thing, and then they just upsell another thing which is exactly the same thing, directly the exact same thing. So for example, let's say you go to a restaurant, right? You buy a steak, right? And you eat the steak. It was really good. You really liked it, and it was like, wow, that was a great steak. And it was a big steak, so you're really full, and you're like, wow, that was a nice steak. Now, if the restaurant comes out to you again and like, wow, okay, this person bought a steak, so they probably want more steaks, right? Because they like steak. So let's sell more steaks to them. If you just bought and ate a full steak, are you going to want another steak if they come and offer it to you? No. But what if they came to you and offered you some kind of dessert, right? Now you're going to be like, okay, yeah, I just ate the steak. Now I want dessert. Now I'm going to take this, right? And so that's kind of how you want to think about upsells. I'll give you this a little bit more of an advanced example so you can kind of understand this even better. Let's say, for example, I had some kind of agency, just so you kind of understand what upsells mean. Let's say, for example, I had some kind of agency where I help people, scale their Facebook ads for their business, right? I'm like, okay, I help you scale your Facebook ads. Now that I've helped you scale your Facebook ads and you've got all these customers who are interested in buying, would you also like me to kind of train you and show you how you can close these customers and get sales from them? So I'm not just saying like, okay, I already helped you get your Facebook ads good. Now let me just do that again for you because it's already done, right? They've already bought the product. And so you need to kind of offer something which complements it and goes uniquely with it. So off the top of my head, right, this is like, let's say, for example, you're selling a editing tutorial, like how to edit on CapCut tutorial. Okay, maybe on top of that, you offer things like, a clips pack, right? Clips pack, which people will use to edit. Or on top of that, you offer like a editing preset for different filters and stuff. Or on top of that editing pack, you offer, let's say, a scripting process so people know how to script their videos well so they actually get views, right? That's some examples. Let's say, for example, that I'm selling with my gym page a digital product, right? Okay. Well, what I might do is I might go ahead and I will, let's say I sell a full body workout program. Then on top of that, I might add a bonus of like best supplements to take guide, right? So it's like, okay, here's the full workout system, the guides and all that stuff. Here's a small list of like 5 supplements you could take, right? So just small upsells like that, which people want. And so you could do more expensive ones, you could do cheaper ones, but that's how you upsell. So that's the first way you ascend, and you make each customer worth more when they originally buy. The second way is to just increase your prices. Just increase your prices. So this is something generally almost this don't take this from me, by the way. Take this from Alex Ramosi. This is where I learned him from. But he says that mostly all businesses who are like this will generally benefit by just increasing their prices. Not all of them, but this is just most businesses will benefit by increasing your prices. And so with your digital product, you'll most likely make more if you increase your prices, generally, right? The reason for this is that I see, for example, a lot of digital products, like pages, they might sell a digital product for, let's say, $10, and I've done this, and I'm still figuring it out with some of my prices even. But a lot of products, let's say you sell a product for $10. Okay, if you're selling a product for $10, those sales you get, let's say you get 100 sales. If you increase the price from $10 to $15, would you get that much fewer sales? No, you probably get around the same sales. Maybe you get a little bit less. Instead of getting 100 sales, you might only get 90 or 95, right? If you increase from $10 to 15. But if someone's going to spend $10 on your product, they'll throw in an extra $5 to get it if they want it, right? If they were going to buy it originally anyways. And so even though you just increased your price from 10 to 15 or maybe 10 to $20, you could add 30%. You could even double the amount of money you're making just with a simple price increase like that. And so what it really comes down to when you're doing your pricing structure is just look at your earnings per click. It's like, I get this many people to the site at this price, how much money did I make from that? I got this many people to the site at this price, how much money did I make from that? And just figure out the best price from there. But generally, I would say increase your prices, because the increase in price will be more than the drop off in sales, if that makes sense, right? So I'll say that again. The increase in price will make you more, even considering the drop off in sales that you get from an increase in price. So generally, I'm a fan of increasing your prices, especially. So if it's a little bit different, if you're selling a product for like $100 and you double your prices to $200, that's kind of a little bit more of a jump. Or if your product is $5,000, let's just say, and you double it to $10,000. Okay, that's probably going to be a big drop off. But let's say, for example, like I see some priced at like $10. If you increase from 10 to $20, that's like nothing. There's no difference between that. So just remember, if someone was willing to buy at this price, especially if you're like what's called a low ticket price, like 10, 50, $100, somewhere around there. Generally, if you're really on that low end of that, if you double your prices, you're not going to get a huge drop off. And so ascending is incredibly important. There is this is a bonus tip, by the way. If you have any questions throughout the video, leave a comment. I try to reply to them all. And you should subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next video, one of the next videos I'm going to drop, I'm going to be reviewing your guys' pages, so you won't want to miss that. So the next thing, a bonus tip, I guess you could say, with this when it comes to ascending, is there is a software called Samcart, which I haven't used it yet, but I've seen a lot of their studies and analytics which they go over with this. But they've had like average things where people would implement certain aspects to their digital product that they're selling, and they've had cases where people will take their $6 product, just a $6 product, that's it. And with like upsells and doing other increasing pricing strategies and stuff, just with that, they take their average order value. So they get a customer to pay them and buy their product. They'll take the average order value without even changing the product from $6 to like $50, $60 plus. Just imagine the difference there, $6 to $50. Now, $6 to $50 is only $40. That's not a big difference. But if you're making, let's say, $6,000 and you increase it to $50,000, you get the point, right? If you're getting like 1,000 sales or something, it's a huge, huge difference. And so you want to ascend with upsells and increasing prices. Now, the third way, and this is actually what I would probably say is the number one most important aspect here. It's maybe the harder one to figure out. This is a little bit harder to figure out, but it is, I would say, in my opinion, the number one most important aspect out of these is retain. So acquire was, we just get more customers. Ascend is we make those customers worth more in terms of how much they're spending when they buy. And then retain is just getting those people to buy digital products again and again and again from us. So how does this work, right? Well, in the aspect of a gym, right? A gym, they might sell you into the membership. They might sell you into to join the membership at the gym one time, and then they might sell you like a monthly retainer for a personal trainer, or they might sell you sign up for a 1 year plan so they stay with you for a whole year or something like that, right? But the main point of this is just like if you're at a gym, some people will cancel their membership and they'll leave. And the whole point of a gym in terms of retaining is just to get people to stay and come back month after month after month after month, right? It's very, very simple, but you need to retain people. revenue retention is so incredibly important. Now, there's two forms of this, right? There's two, I guess you could say, forms of revenue retention, where one, you have recurring revenue, and two, you have reoccurring revenue. Now, I'll explain to you what these both mean. I know it sounds like the same word, right? Whenever I say that, people are like, Mark, do you just not know the word recurring? It's like, no, they're two different words. Reoccurring means, for example, at McDonald's, you go to McDonald's and you go to McDonald's this week, you might go next week, you might go a couple weeks after that, you might go tomorrow, you'll go every now and then, right? That's reoccurring. You're going and it's kind of happening every now and then, right? It's just, whenever you feel like it or whenever you feel like go. Recurring revenue is something like a gym, right? Where you sign up monthly and you pay a monthly payment to be at the gym. So reoccurring is when it happens now, it happens a couple weeks, maybe it happened in a couple days after that. Every now and then people will buy again. Recurring revenue is when people just pay monthly for something, right? Or weekly or yearly or whatever it is. Now, if you're a beginner, I don't recommend starting with reoccurring revenue, because if you're doing reoccurring revenue, there's a lot more that goes into that. Like, you got to have a customer ascension path where you've got digital products that will digital products that lead into the next one, and how you're going to sell that to people through emails, how you're going to communicate it to them, like what is your sequence there. Reoccurring revenue, it can be kind of complicated if you're just a complete beginner, and even for me, I've tended to stick more to recurring revenue. And so recurring revenue is things like just doing like a monthly plan, or getting people to pay you on a weekly plan, or something like that, right? And this is a little bit simpler. Now, there is some nuance to this, right? There is a very nice aspect to this, and there's like always debates online about this. Like, is it good to do recurring digital products or not? Like, is it a good thing? Because if you do, it sounds good off the bat, right? Like, it sounds, and I've done this with $28 a month groups, $3 a month things. Like, I've done this with more expensive things as well. With monthly recurring ones, there's a nice aspect where it's like, okay, you get $1,000 in sales this month. Next month, those people will pay you again. You get $1,000 again, or whatever it may be, right? Okay, that's a nice aspect, right? But on the other hand, you also need to take and you need to take into account that if you're having something monthly, you do have to have a structure where it's like something which people are getting every month, right? Because imagine I sold you a book, right? Let's say your digital product is like a course or something like that. Imagine I sold you a book, and that book is, $10, and then you check your bank statements like 5 months later after you've bought the book, and you see that I've been charging you $10 every single month for the book. You're gonna be like, what the heck? Like, I bought the book once. Why am I being charged again and again and again, month after month, for this book? And so, on the other hand, if you're like a physical fitness trainer or something, or something like that, then it's like, okay, that's something which is happening every month. And so, in the form of digital products, you do have to have that aspect to it where there's going to be something new that people get every month, or however often it is that they renew. So, this could be like, month one they get this thing, month two they get this thing, month three they get this thing, and so each month they get a new thing. That's probably the simplest way of doing it. So, for example, you might have like 5 different courses which they unlock over the span of month after month, right? And that's a good one because you're getting something new every month. It might be something where you have like a community aspect to it, where they can interact with the community and learn from others every month and stuff like that. It might be an aspect where you do like a monthly update workshop kind of thing of what's working. It's a little bit harder to figure out, and you got to kind of figure it out for your specific situation. But if you can figure it out, it works well. Now, there is some duality to this where you do have to keep in mind, if you are doing a monthly thing, you're going to probably, if you're like a one-man team as well, especially, you're probably going to sell less people into it. But you're making that up because people are paying you again and again, right? So you will sell less people into it, but and the reason for that is because a lot of that time and energy which you would take from just selling people is going to have to put into retaining the people which you already have. And so you got to do all this extra stuff to keep them there, right? And to keep your churn down. Churn is the percentage of people which leave every month and cancel. So you are going to get less people in the door, less sales. But if you retain them well and you can have upsells for them and stuff like that, then it can work very, very well. And so with this, though, the whole goal is just to get people to spend consistently with you, get people to continuously buy again and again from you, right? Now, what should you do now? If you've made it to the end of this video, you're an absolute G. Great attention span stuff. So what to do now, if you are a beginner or you have a small page, so you have a page under 10,000 followers, join my free community. What we do in there is every week we do a live call where with me, teach you guys lessons about this stuff, answer questions, things like that. So you can literally get on a call with me. So and you get some mini courses as well in there. It's a free community, completely free. You can click the top link in the bio for that. On the other hand, if you already have a big page, so 10,000 followers or more, follow me on Instagram. My username is mark.vine1. And if you follow me on Instagram and you have 10,000 followers or more, and follow me on your page with 10,000 followers, I will add you to my close friend story. We drop some insane sauce there all around monetization. You ask me questions, things like that. So, yeah, you could go do that. Hope you found this video valuable, and yeah, peace out.